A wedding is a union between two people and their families. It involves an exchange of vows that bring two people together for the rest of their lives. Even though the traditions and customs of weddings differ vastly between different cultures, ethnic groups, religions, and countries, everyone tends to have the same opinion regarding divorce. A divorce, especially a divorcee, is normally looked upon very negatively. However, the divorce rates have increased immensely over the past few decades and are continuing to increase. The parents pass on their traditions, customs, and values onto their children, but I have noticed in both drawing names and Cats of the Confederacy and in my life that the new generations seem to do what is best for them rather than following earlier set traditions and customs. I remember my mom once telling me that back in the days, divorce was considered a terrible thing. Women were expected to spend the rest of their lives with their husbands no matter how they were treated. My mom was also told the same thing when she got married by her parents. They told her that she is beginning a new life and that she should never look back. I'm sure that none of the parents would want their children to go through a traumatic event such as a divorce. However, I am not sure whether it would be a good idea to advise their children to continue their marriage relationship just for the sake of earlier set traditions, even if their life becomes a nightmare for them. In drawing names, Carolyn, one of the main characters of the short story, is divorced. However, her father is deeply disappointed over her failed marriage. Also, Elise, Carolyn's sister, is hiding the fact that she's getting a divorce from her parents. Hence, she brings her husband along even though he has already moved out. The important thing to notice is that their parents are still together. We don't really know how their relationship is like, but there seems to be no show of affection by either of the parents towards each other. Therefore, Mason presents the idea that since the parents are still together, they expect their children to do the same even if they are not really happy. Unsuccessful marriages are not looked upon as being good in my family as well. One of my cousins recently got divorced, but none of the elders in the family agreed with her decision. I once heard my dad say that she should not have done that. However, I completely disagree with my dad. I agree with the decision that she made. It's better to suffer once than having to suffer for the rest of your life. Since marriages are usually arranged in my family, such problems come up all the time. However, our parents expect us to respect their decision and to accept the new relationships that form no matter what. Though this becomes very difficult when you don't really know the other person, it's very hard to get along with someone that you have not met. But the biggest problem is that parents go to the extent of disowning their children if they marry someone of their choice. I personally feel that family traditions should be upheld, but only to an extent. Horowitz portrays the people who supported the Confederates in a very negative way in the chapter Cats of the Confederacy, by saying that they are holding on to the past. I somewhat agree with him, because the parents were in a way forcing their children to follow their customs and traditions. It's stated in the chapter that children of the Confederacy spent many weekends this way, breaking and fertilizing Confederate plots, decorating graves with flowers, and visiting monuments and shrines. Also, one of the girls that Horowitz chooses to talk to from within that group said that she was actually embarrassed to come today. She in fact said that I'm not prejudiced and I don't agree with all this South is great stuff. Hence, Horowitz presents the idea that the children did not agree with their parents, but were doing all this only to show respect to their parents. Overall, it can be seen that both Horowitz and Mason present the idea that children tend to form their own beliefs and values, which do not necessarily have to coincide with those of their parents. Marriage and divorce are one of the most important decisions of one's life, and one should be able to decide what is right and what is wrong for them on their own.